Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of MD's Power Hour, starring Giles, Tiger Thomas, and me, Ron, the Ronster Harris. And now, joining me all the way from the United Kingdom, Sir Giles Thomas. How are you, man?
Ron, I love that intro. Somebody said you're the king of intros, and I'm the one for the knowledge on bodybuilding.
Yeah, well, Jose called me Wrong Harris. I don't know if you picked up on that a couple times during our wrap-ups. I'm not always right, but that's okay. I represent the confused bodybuilding fans of the world. So
Ron, you're only 98% accurate. This year I think you're going to get to 99.5.
I mean, that's still pretty good, 99.5, right? So, man, last week we did a wrap-up of 2022, and now I think it's time. We're in 2023. Let's look forward to this year. Whole new season, a shorter season. Thank you, God. Appreciate that. And, man, let's start with some people that I think we both would agree are going to be huge, huge superstars this year. I want to start with the UK's own Samson Dauda. Incredible Olympia debut. 6th place, which was, in my eyes, controversial. I think most people agreed. He could have been a slot or two higher than that. And as we speak, by the time this episode comes out, the Arnold Classic list will be out. The only person I know right now doing it for sure is Samson, and he's already my favorite. I mean, look at the rest of the top 5. I think the only other person possibly doing it is Brandon Curry. And I think Samson is more than capable of leveling up, even if he can make slight improvements over the next couple months to win a show like that. But Samson Dauda, who you'll be writing a feature about for the next issue, because this guy he's on fire right now.
I'll be honest. I'm worried. I'm worried he's going to burn out, mate. He's been on, think about it. This guy has been on non-stop prep, really. He was 270 at Prague in November 2021, which qualified him for the 2022 Olympia. He was 280 at the Arnold back in March. Then he did the Olympia at like 294. It's like, I don't want people to keep expecting this level of improvement and progress out of him. I'm worried. I don't think he should be doing the Arnold. And I'm sorry, but I think there's so much excitement and so much hype around Samson, which he kind of did deliver on last year. Yeah. But I'm worried because he's 10 weeks to the Arnold, and he's barely said goodbye to the Olympia, which was incredible. I'd like to see him do like a New York Pro or a Chicago or something later in the season. But and you're saying about the Arnold Classic, mate, Bonak's doing it.
Okay.
Bonak's doing it, and obviously, and Brandon. I mean, Bonak, 2 weeks out from the Olympia, when they saw the photos, he looked incredible. And for some reason, his chest and back, maybe they overdid the drying out or whatever, but something in those last 2 weeks really flattened him out. And you could see him on stage. He wasn't smiling. He knew he'd kind of blown it, and he knew he was out of the top 6. You could tell by the placings. Yeah. But you've got Brandon Curry, who only needs to drop, 8 to 10 pounds from what he brought at the Olympia. Yeah. So, you can't say that Samson's the favorite when you've got someone like Brandon Curry, 2 times, 2 time or 3 time? 2 time.
2 time, yeah.
2 time winner, 2019 and 2021. And then you've got guys like Shaun Clarida coming in who continually surprise us.
Well, that's right. Shaun's doing it.
Yeah, doing the open.
Oh boy.
So really, I mean, and is Samson going to be as good, or is he going to be better than the Olympia? I mean, we don't know. So, but I don't think you can say he's the favorite going in. Yes, I would like him to win, but I don't know. I don't think 10 weeks is enough to make significant improvements, because the Olympia last year was so late. And obviously the Arnold's back in its normal slot in March. But, I mean, it's going to be tricky, this Arnold, because you're going to get guys that are going to be coming off the back of the Olympia that really haven't had time to shut it down. And that, for me, is a concern.
Yeah, I've always had issues with, when the Olympia started happening later in the year, and obviously the Arnold stays where it is. It's only that one anomalous year where it was in later in the year, but it doesn't give these guys. I don't like to see guys go right from one prep straight into another like that. Their bodies need a break. So yeah, okay. I can't take it back. I already said it, but I think Samson's still a heavy favorite among those other names. It's going to be a dogfight.
I mean, it's going to be exciting to see Samson versus Clarida, because I meluyou can't underestimate Clarida, because look what he did at the Legion back in 2021. I mean, before that show, after the Olympia, when he lost it to Lunsford, and he said, I'm doing the Legion, I was like, oh no, this is a huge mistake, Shaun, huge mistake. And then he proved us wrong. So I think if anything with Shaun Clarida, he's someone that has basically based his entire career upon proving people wrong. I mean, I wrote an article in MD was it a year ago or something? I can't remember. And every step of the way to compete as a bodybuilder, to turn pro, to win a pro show, to win the Olympia, every step of the way, he's had people saying, you can't do this, you can't do this. And he's proven us wrong every single step of the way. Like, I think now, because he had his baby, congratulations, obviously, to the family. Yep. They've got a new baby. It's like, you've got a new baby barely out of your wife. and literally, he's going into like a 10-week prep now. So, but like I said, I mean, like, Shaun, Clarida and Samson are two guys I would love to be proved wrong on, but I mean, they've really got it going up against them for the Arnold.
Yeah, mentioning Clarida, it's funny because I asked Kevin Leveroni, we wrapped up the Olympia a little while back on this channel on his show, and I asked him because he was very impressed with Clarida because he did the commentary on the live stream for the 212, and I said, how do you think he would have done in the Open? Kevin said he would have won it. I go, really? He goes, yep. No. Well, that's just Kevin's opinion. He's entitled to it. Yeah. But on that note, Derek Lunsford, man, wow. Second place in his Olympia debut. I don't think he's that far behind Hadi. I mean, Hadi beat him fair and square, but it wasn't like he blew him out of the water. And he did have some poses on the front double bicep, the rear double bicep. We just need to see more maturity in this whole area, the chest, the shoulders, the arms. I don't know if he can get, because we're not going to see him on stage again until November. He made drastic improvements in size, obviously. The muscle maturity, I don't know how much longer that's going to take him. Do you expect to see a lot more of that this November?
I don't know whether about muscle maturity. I don't know whether that's really relevant to Lunsford, because look at Lunsford's back. I mean, in the rear double bicep, I thought he had Hadi because he was sharper through the delts, he was sharper through the arms and the lower back in certain areas. The rear lat spread I thought was very even between him and Hadi. But I think he just needs, I don't think it's anything to do with muscle maturity. I think it's to do with development. I think he just needs a bit more, like you said, the frontal bicep, because he's got that crazy flare to his lats. It's that, because the first pose he hit, don't forget, when he came out the Olympia, was that front relaxed. Yeah. And that shoulder to waist was like, everyone just went, holy shit. I mean, I was going crazy. We were all going crazy. The crowd was going. And then he hit the frontal bicep with that vacuum, and then everything just opens up with that 18, 20 pound he now had. It's like, wow, it's like there's something to be said for a very good first impression. And if you're like Andrew Jack, his frontal bicep is his best shot when he angles it. And that's usually the first pose they call for. Yeah. So I think it was had he just exposed him a little bit in the density and the development in the shoulders, the chest, in those most muscular shots. I mean, like, Derek wasn't really popping like Hadi was, but who's to say, look what he's achieved in a year just by going from 212 to Open. And now, like you said, I didn't realize he was shutting it down now until the Olympia. So, I mean, this Derek is, what was he, 29 now?
29, that's it. Yeah.
No, he's seen how quick this guy can improve, so who's to say in a year? I mean, has Hadi reached his peak level of development? Is that as really as good as he can get? Will he just become a bigger, same version? So whereas Lunsford has improvements he can make, so potentially he could close the gap on Hadi this year. So, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, what's funny is you mentioned that front relaxed pose of his is so striking. MD, he's going to get the cover of the next issue. I hope I'm not putting any state secrets out there, Steve. Sorry, but and it's the front relaxed pose, which I can't recall the last time, if ever. Maybe like in the 70s, you would see someone on the cover of Muscular Development in the front relaxed. I can't remember, and I've been writing for MD for over 20 years, so that just goes to show you how striking that first impression. We made a cover out of it, man.
I mean, like I said, the shoulders to waist was just shocking. Yeah. When guys can, that's always like the holy grail of bodybuilding. If you can get bigger and keep the waist small, which is something that Derek Lunsford and Samson both did, then it's kind of like, how can you even fault what they've done in that time? It's like you've managed to get bigger, better, more developed. There's more going on in your physique, and you've managed to keep the waist small. I think that is that's why a guy like Derek Lunsford, who's shorter, and lighter than the other guys, can do so well, because he managed to do what he did and keep the waist small, and that's why he did so well.
Yeah,
one of the reasons.
Absolutely. Next guy I want to talk about is Tonio Burton out of Nevada. He won the Legion Sports Fest. So this is a guy that was a 212 originally, but not for long. He only did a couple shows, did very well. I knew he was going to have a tough time at the Olympia with 30 guys up there. And he's not quite where he needs to be size-wise yet, but he's not lacking anything. And he's got that shoulder to waist differential, the flaring quads, just beautiful shape and structure, good amount of size. He does remind me, I think you were the one who first pointed out, a lot of similarities to Dexter Jackson with the structure and the shape. I think with a little, he's in an off season right now. He's putting a little bit more size on. Don't know what his plans are, but I do expect to see him moving up the ranks this year in the Open. Tonio Burton.
Yeah, I do rate him. I like his physique. Are you hyping this guy because you do see him becoming as good as someone like a Dexter because he looks like Dexter? Like when people said that Akeem, when he got sixth in Olympia in 2020, they said, oh, he could win the Olympia in 2021 because Ramy did that in 20.
Yeah.
Was it 28? Sorry, 20. What year? 2018. He went from sixth to first, 2018 to 2020, and I think people thought that he could do the same. So, but everyone's different though. So I could see him winning more pro shows though, and I do like his physique. He's very complete. But I still see him as a bit of a work in progress.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's going to be the next Dexter Jackson. Dexter's awesome. I don't even want to say future Olympia or anything like that. I do think we're going to see him coming up the ranks, doing very well. I could see him cracking, top 10 at the Olympia this year. It's going to take him a little while. I don't think he's going to be an overnight success story, and he could prove me wrong on that. But I think he's somebody to watch. He's got a great physique. Mm-hmm. And it just needs a little more things. Speaking of which, Rafael Brandão from Brazil was his first Olympia, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's hard to believe because he's been around. I know he's a young guy, but he's been on the scene a while. 10th place. I thought his condition was great, beautiful shape, structure, symmetry. Still needs a little more size, but he doesn't need a lot more size. It's not like he's getting blown out off the stage like a swimmer. How much more size do you think we need to see from Rafael before he pushes up into maybe top 6, top 5?
Well, don't forget, we've got guys like Krizanek and Andrew Jack on the scene now that are monsters. Do you know what I mean? So he can't, it's like, because he said to me, I had him on Global, and he said, like, I want to do this steadily. I don't want to make drastic gains. And for me, he did make gains this year. So I think he just needs to keep doing, because he's 29. I mean, like I said, wow. He made his pro debut at 24 years old in 2017 at the San Marino. Yeah. And he was like barely a year out of the juniors, and he put something like, was it 30 pound on in a couple of years or something? Yeah. It was ridiculous, like 210 to 240 or something like that. Although I've heard conflicting saying that he was a lot lighter at that show. But anyway, he looked amazing. He was first call out with like Brandon Curry and Cedric McMillan and Hadi then, So I like what he brought, and I like the fact that he's doing it nice and steadily because I did see improvements. Nothing drastic, but that's probably why he's managed to keep his shape so intact. But his condition was fantastic. He looked polished. He deserved to be in the top 10 in a very, very strong Olympia. I think this is an absolutely fantastic starting point for him, though. So I think 29, don't rush him.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's talk about those two since you brought them up. Andrew Jack, first of all. Andrew Jack was in prep he was in prep all of 2022. He competed early March. Then Texas show that he won. Texas Pro was August. Arnold UK was October. Olympia was December. This guy had a long year. He did fantastic. I had a strong suspicion the Olympia, it was going to be too much for him to try to drag it out and maintain that peak and the freshness and everything. And his body was starting to look a little bit tired by the Olympia. And he was sick. He got sick toward the end, like a lot of people. I think Andrew Jack is like one off season away from leveling up. His condition was not impressive. You and I are both conditioned snobs. And when he turned around that lower back and the glutes and the hams, he wasn't fat. It wasn't jiggling or anything, but it was far from what we would expect. Compare that to a condition of someone like a Lunsford from the back, or a few other people. And still he placed 7th, right? 8th.
You said that last time.
Yeah. I keep moving him up a place. So
Hunter won't be happy with you saying that.
Sorry, Hunter, my bad. So, but for him to do that well, and his condition was not that great, goes to show you, and he still needs some more things, a little hamstring, a little more. He's not completely done. I think one good off season is all this guy needs to level up. So what do you expect to see from Andrew Jack? Onidu Let's just call him Andrew Jack. I can't even remember Andrew Jack.
Okay, two things. One thing, some guys, the more they compete, the better they get. Some people, like Theo, there's an example of a guy that did shows all year, brought great condition every single time, and actually managed to get better and better and better. I mean, Milos will say, if you're a pro, you need to compete, compete. This is why I think Samson's doing as many shows as he is, So, but having said that, he's also very fresh to the scene. He's only, so even though he's a little bit older, he's 38, 39, they say, this is a guy that, he could, the thing is, squishy hams, that could be fixed in one prep.
Right.
So, but like George said on the forum, he said he's brought 75% condition every single time. I think that's a bit harsh. I think maybe 80, 85, 5-10%. But, look, he's already off to a fantastic start. I don't think there's like I said, what he can do could be done in one prep. So I just think, and like I said, he was sick at the Olympia, like he said. And also he said, because I interviewed him with Ronnie Coleman, and he said, like, he really struggles to eat. Like, he can't go, was it something he couldn't, like Ronnie was saying, why don't you get up through the night to eat and get the extra meal in? And he said he's got food allergies and he really struggles to get, like he said, he's not a big eater. And the guy is freaking 90 on stage. I couldn't believe, that's what I think I can take away from the Olympia. I physically saw how massive this guy is, and he's got a beautiful shape, and I loved his posing routine. But I don't know. I think I'm still going to stick with he needs 2 years to really, really get somewhere. And thing is, that's saying that based upon what he's already achieved last year.
Right.
3 wins and an 8th at Olympia. But I really do think he could be top 5 Olympia, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to be something for next year. I'd like to see him do the New York Pro, get a win there, and maybe squeeze into the top 6 at Olympia this year. But I think next year, I know it seems far away, but think about how long it took guys like Ramy and Ronnie and Jay Cutler. People I think nowadays are so used to guys like Nick Walker and stuff doing well so quick.
Yeah,
I think they're impatient, and I still maintain that Jacked will be something really to be reckoned with in 2024.
Fair enough. So how about Krizo? How close is Michael Krizo from his full potential? A tan can be sorted in 10 minutes. You can get him a better tan. Condition, not an issue, but physique-wise, this is the first time both of us got a really good in-person look at him. What do you think he still needs to improve on before he goes and starts threatening for the Olympia title?
Chest, back, and midsection.
There you go. Okay.
That's it. Because thing is, when you've got arms, shoulders that ridiculous, they are ridiculous. And they're not, like we said in last episode, they're not jimmied up. You can see the separation. You can only, it's incredible. I really respect him for not doing that to make them even freakier, because when I saw him in Prague, I was looking at his radial bicep, and his radial bicep, because he had all the stripes in his delts and all the separation between the 3 heads, it made that pose so much more impressive. And it actually drew the eye away from his back, which is good, but it's not amazing. So it just all depends how fast he can improve those areas and whether he can get them up to the level of his shoulders and his arms. And I think his legs are really good. I thought his legs look really, really good. But when I was on stage at the Prague, Steve Weinberger came up, had a photo with him, and I walked past by the back of Steve Weinberger, and Steve had a photo with him, and he said, "Make sure you fill that back out." That's what he said, and I was thinking, oh no, I think it's his chest he needs to fill out. But that so there's obviously, the guy's 32, he's not done yet, he can improve more. But I would love to see him take his physique to another level in the next year or two. But again, I think he needs 2 years like Andrew. I think 2024, Krizo and Andrew Jack could be 1 and 2 at the Olympia. I really do believe that.
Wow.
Depends what they do in this next 2 years. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens next. But I think Krizo will win another pro show this year. I think he'll move up into the top 10 this year, but next year, then I really think we're talking.
Well, we got to bookmark this episode. It's 2 years from now, everybody. Go back and look at it. You got to see if Giles is right. Mystic Tiger has proven correct many, many times. His accuracy is, I think it's 89.4% at this point. It's pretty good.
0.42.
So I do want to talk about one guy who we've never seen on a pro stage yet. Carlos Thomas Jr. won the NPC Nationals super heavyweight in overall back in fall of 2021. Took all of 2022 to improve. And we both, you saw him, we've seen him. He's at every show with his dad. I love his dad, Carlos. We hang out at the shows a lot now. Cool dude. And this kid, I call him a kid because I think he might have just turned 30. Is he 29, 30?
Wow.
Huge. He's got that round look to the muscles. Just freaky. And he's taking his time doing it right. This is a guy that was like a middleweight a few years back, took time off, put a lot of size on, kept those shape proportions. New York Pro is going to be his pro debut, and I'm calling it right here and now. Carlos Thomas Jr. wins 2023 New York Pro.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. That's right. I called it.
Okay. Well, I mean, it will be exciting. It'll be exciting. But remember, we saw him and his dad at the 2020 Arnold Classic. We're walking to the expo.
Yeah.
And when he's one of those guys, just think, this guy can't really put any more size on. I mean, he's waddling. He's so big. He's kind of like Nick Walker. You just look at him and you think, holy shit, this guy cannot get any bigger. Saw him at the Olympia this year and he's got bigger. He looked like a big maybe he probably was a big amateur in 2020. Now he looks like a fully fledged. He's got that pro level density and size. And the thing is, he's very, very smart. He's a very smart cookie.
Yeah.
And he's obviously clearly got a good work ethic because, he studies and he's working and he's got a good job and, and he's not a dummy, this guy. Yeah. So this is a guy that I kind of am expecting quite big things from. And yeah, we don't know. The New York Pro's way off, but he will. I mean, he's if he brings a condition with the kind of size that he's got now, and obviously he brings something that we think he can bring, then yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see him for 2022. And I mean, who's to say he couldn't do what Nick Walker did in 2020, wasn't it? It's going to be exciting, and I like the guy as well. He's a really cool guy, and I'd love to see him hit the ground running. Yeah.
So I had to be bold to make one super bold prediction, but another one, my last person I want to talk about, because I know you've got a couple you're going to surprise me with. Women's bodybuilding this year, Andrea Shaw has been dominating, but we're seeing a new talent rise up. This Angela Yao, she won the Chicago Pro as her pro debut. I had never heard of her before, dominated the show, and then goes to Olympia, gets all the way to second place, beating, these women who've been up on that Olympia stage for years and years. So women's bodybuilding, that's your rookie of the year for sure, if you're going to give that title out to anybody. But I don't know if she's necessarily going to beat Andrea Shaw. Andrea is very, very good. But Angela Yao certainly pushing for top spots this year at any show she wants, Wings of Strength, Olympia, whatever she decides to do.
Do you know what? When she won Chicago, if you look on the forum on the play-by-play, I actually said when she won, I said I think she's going to push Andrea at the Olympia.
Wow. Okay.
Actually, so go check the thread. You can go and check. I'm not bullshitting. That's a good thing about typing things down. You can always be held accountable for whether you're talking shit or whether you're actually, you're correct. And also on the forum, if you notice for the Olympia, I had her clear second. I said I think she's going to get second. I'm really, really impressed because she was a lot smaller, but from the back. That incredible bicep. And we spoke to her. Do you remember at the after dinner gala?
Yep.
We were talking to her, and I went up to her. I said that was incredible. Because she's obviously a lot smaller than the ladies, but for me, she was a clear second. In a very, very tough lineup. So I really rate her. I love her conditioning. I thought she looked incredible in Chicago, and yeah, I agree. I think she absolutely 100% should get Rookie of the Year because I did know about her before. I tried to get on Global ages ago, and we couldn't schedule it. But a couple of years ago that was. But wow. Yeah, really, really impressive. Will she push Andrea Shaw? I don't know about that. I just think Andrea Shaw is just way out in front at the moment.
She is. I interviewed Andrea yesterday. Andrea, and
she's lovely.
What do you think her arms are? What do you think her arms measure?
Oh God, I don't want to say. Tell me.
18.
What?
Yes.
Okay, I'm training arms tonight.
I said, damn it. I mean, this one on a very good day is 18. This one's not even so wild. I bowed down. But yeah.
Well, mine are actually 24 inches.
Together, you add them together or you wrap the tape around twice?
Long.
That's a good one. I'm going to steal that. So now you're going to surprise me with your picks for superstars of 2023. I'm curious. Who do you got? Giles?
Tell you someone I thought really impressed me with the structure was actually next to Carlos Thomas at the Nationals, that Justin Spear.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, because he's with Hostile, I believe, which obviously Fuad's got a very good eye. He doesn't bring on people that he doesn't see real potential in. But look at that guy's structure. And I've been paying attention to his progress, videos and photos and stuff. And he's banging on a lot of size because he had that. I'm trying to think whose physique he reminded me of. Sandro Hoffer. There was a Swiss guy a couple of years ago who died, sadly. But he had that same structure, that, like, you know, the flare in lats and everything. And I've just got a really good feeling that he's going to pull it out the bag this year and really shock us. Really, really impressed with him. And also, I think Patrick Johnson's one to watch, you know.
From Denmark, yeah. Yeah,
because he was 14th at Olympia. And I know he's a bit soft from the back. But, you know, I'm sure he said to me he was 20 pounds heavier than when he won Italy, in September?
Wow.
Yeah, he said to me, my body just after what he won the year. Because sometimes when these guys get wins, it just does something to their psyche, to their entire kind of way of being. And they kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a boost of testosterone or something in it, you know, production or whatever. But they do, some of them they go, right, okay, now I've got the opportunity. I'm going to really prove myself. And he's been training with Brandon Curry as well. So, you know, they're roommates. So
right. In Kuwait,
you know,
everybody, he's part of the camel crew.
There you go. So I mean, like I said, I was really impressed with what he brought to the Olympia in terms of how much size he put on. He just didn't quite nail the conditioning, but he didn't have, if he was 20 pounds heavy, he didn't have probably more than 5 pounds to lose to be really bang on. That would have been 15 pounds heavier than Yamamoto. So I think there's a guy that you know, because he's hungry as well, and you've got to, sometimes it's not just what you see physically, it's what their mentality is and what they do in a very limited space of time, and what he's done is incredible. So I think he's got the fire, that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never heard of him before this past year, and I think was Yamamoto the Yamamoto was the first show he did last year that we saw him at.
No, he got second at the Arnold UK. He beat James Hollinshead.
That's right.
Then second to Andrew Jacked. And then he was third. James Holland was third. And that was a good lineup, you know. And then he went to, it might have been Tsunami, which maybe not Yamamoto, the Tsunami one. He won one of the Italian shows.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, and he was very flat there, actually. He won it by a very close margin between him and Mark Hector. But then he just supersized and just brought something that I didn't expect to the Olympia, which I was really impressed by. So, you know, it's that's a good starting point for Patrick for next year and a good confidence builder.
Yeah. I mean, I would have had Mark Hector on my list, but would he tear a bicep just now?
Bicep? No, I've not heard that.
I thought he had some injury that knocked him out of I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, guys. So
wrong Harris.
Wrong. That's why they call him
Nathan D'Asha tore both his biceps, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I thought Mark Hector had been injured. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
I saw a post today, and I've been following his Instagram and everything, and he's not said anything. I've not seen any posts regarding that. Good. But regarding Mark Hector, there's another guy that he kind of put on too much size. I think he was like 20 something pounds heavier, and to me it looked like 8 pounds too many at the Arnold UK, and then he dropped too much for the Tsunami or the Yamamoto behind Patrick Johnson. But so I think when he gets that balance right of coming in the right body weight with the right conditioning, you know, there's another guy that could absolutely, you know, storm his way through 2023.
Yeah, I was trying to think of anybody in Classic, and the only one that really comes to mind is this Mike Sommerfeld from Germany, because of course we're all familiar with him. He's been around for a couple of years, but to make top 5 at the Classic Physique Olympia, there were 59 men competing in that. My God. And he beat some big names. He beat guys like Alex Cambronero that's been up there many times before. Yeah. He beat Rough Diesel. I mean, Rough Diesel was the heir to the throne. So I think he's fantastic, Mike Sommerfeld. Very impressed. Somebody that I've known about, but just, I don't know, Classic, there's so much talent, and there's always so much new talent. It's kind of easy to forget about people that you know are very good, because there's just always somebody new to focus on. And then there's Cbum, who takes 99% of everyone's attention.
Who's a god.
Yes, pretty much.
I expect him to come on stage with a hammer, lightning striking him. Mike Sommerfeld. Yeah, I remember I was there with the March 2 Bro show in 2018 when he won the heavyweights and overall as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And then he switched, I think, probably a couple of years later to Classic. And he wasn't really hitting the mark. He was getting like 7ths and 8ths and 5ths and 6ths in these kind of mid-level pro shows because he wasn't getting his conditioning right. But, the structure and the muscle size was all there. And I just thought, oh, here's another guy that he was never going to bring the true conditioning. And then eventually him and Neil Hill, his coach, got the formula right, and they managed to bring him in condition, and he got a qualification, and and actually looked really, really good. And he got like he said, he caught the judges. I was there. He got that first call out, which obviously must have been thrilling for him. And yeah, he did really well. I spoke to Brian Bullman, the promoter, because the pro show I was at in Ireland.
Yes.
He did 212 pro show, and he's going to bring classic, because he said the numbers are greater and we'll get more competitors. And he really wants Mike Summerfield to come and do his show, because he's this is a European guy that's on the up, and he said he'll bring a lot of positive attention to the show. So like you've got guys like from Europe, you've got like Urs Kalasinski, you've got Michael de Bull,
Wesley Vicious.
Oh God, good. Wesley, yeah, incredible. That was the best Wesley I've ever seen at the Olympia.
Yeah, very impressed. So there's two guys. I don't know if they're going to make their 212 debut this year. So the first one, Neil Curry. Neil could not get down to classic weight without just completely losing all his fullness and pop. No, he's doing open. He is doing open. Do you know if he's going to do it this year?
I don't know, but I mean, that guy's ready at like probably 230, 235. I mean, I was really disappointed when he brought the Olympia, because he lost 10 pounds in that final week.
Wow.
It's a lot. And I knew he would come in flat, which was really disappointing, because I mean, every single progress picture from like 10 weeks out, he looked incredible. He was ready, not ready, but there was very little body fat, and he looked full, and his front lat spread was popping, and he went to the Olympia at 215, and he was just like, so I want to see him. I'd love to see him guest pose at like 235, 240. I think he'd blow minds.
And the other guy I want to see as a 212 is Breon Ansley. Breon's been getting down to 180 pounds for a few years now. And he's, every time he's prepping, he doesn't always tell you what he weighs, but I've seen him during his prep when he's about 195 or so, and he looks like he could almost get on stage right then and there.
Wow.
So he doesn't need to be 212, and I don't know if he even can be 212. He's not that tall. I don't think he needs to be at the limit of the class. I'm just curious to see. He's over 40 years old. It's hard to tell because he doesn't have any wrinkles or anything like me, but I just wonder what he's going to look like as a 212, because we've never seen him without having to worry about the restriction, like Lunsford. Some of these guys, once they have that taken away, the restriction, their physique just really blossoms. So I'm curious to see if Breon can do that, especially at over age 40.
Well, he started as a 212.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
No, he wasn't very good, but he was at the early stages of career, and he didn't, the conditioning wasn't there, and then he kind of just obviously got shit together, and and absolutely incredible as a classic. So is this a gamble for him, or should he stay classic even if it's a struggle? I mean, is this?
See, I don't know, because I don't think I think it's clear he's never getting the Classic Physique Olympia title back.
The guys, place, though, top 3, top 4. I mean,
it's good, but it's not good enough for him. Apparently, I think he just wants. From speaking with him and watching interviews, I think he just wants the chance to see what his full potential is. And at 180 pounds wasn't it. So, and it was always a struggle to get to that weight the last like 3-4 years.
Is that all he is? 180 as a classic?
Yes. Yeah.
My God. So if he's 190, 195, he's going to look completely different. I mean, that's like the difference, almost the difference between Lunsford as a 212 as an open. So maybe thing is, I just hope he brings that same conditioning, because thing is, Breon is known for his conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, just the conditioning this year, and also the 2017 Olympia. I mean, it was just another level.
Right.
I'll be interested to see him as a 212. I hope he doesn't bomb as a 212. I hope he does well.
Yeah.
Because it would be really sad to see, him getting 4th or 5th in some mid-level 212 show, and he doesn't look as good. I just hope he looks good, and he does, and then he'll do himself justice. So it doesn't really matter whether because I think he, as a 212, potentially could win pro shows.
Sure.
But I'm not sure how he'd do at the Olympia.
Yeah, I mean, you got Angel Calderon, you got Shaun Clarida, you got Angel Calderon, you still have Kamal, you still have guys like Keon. There's a lot of Nathan Epler will be. Is he going to go open now? I think he's
open. He's open.
Yeah, he's done. Don't worry about Nathan anymore. But you still have Brian Balzano. You still have some very, very good talent up in that.
Kerith.
Who's that? Kerith Baggio. Yeah, who I just interviewed. I should have remembered Kerith. Yeah.
Do you think, obviously this leads on from, I was just talking to Brian Bullman about this. And I said, do you think the 212 is in trouble? the 212 division, because last year we saw all the guys like Angel Calderon and Shaun Clarida jumping ship. But then at the Olympia, you've got 2x212s, Hadi and Derek Lunsford taking 1 and 2, which might now be a factor with someone like Shaun Clarida saying, I'm going into the Open Arnold Classic, which he's just said he's going to do, apparently,
Right.
If that's correct. So and people saying, oh, we know Shaun Clarida could do really well. And, him next to Samson, who's like nearly 300 pounds, that'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting call out, Clarida and Samson. But the thing is, like, now these guys are proven that they can go win open shows. Do you think that takes away from the 212, or do you think do you think that it's not a good sign?
It's a good sign in the fact that it shows that these 212, the top 212 athletes are as good as anybody, regardless. Yeah. I mean, you put them on the open stage, and some of the best 212s will still do very, very well, just like they did before there was a 212 class, when it was guys like Lee Priest and the lighter guys that were doing the open shows back in the day.
Yeah, but Dave Henry, what was it, like 10th or 13th place he got at the Olympias and Open when he was allowed to do both?
Right. Yeah. I mean, David's very good. I don't think David is as good as Hadi Choopan or Derek Lunsford is right now. He was very good. Don't get me wrong. But so that does beg the question, if these guys, the best 212s are good enough to do Open, why do we need a 212 division?
Derek Lunsford won 50K winning the 212. As coming second place in the Open Olympia, he got 150K. And the prize money is going to be an incentive for some of these guys. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if Shaun Clarida thinks, I'll go and win the Arnold, that's going to be worth more than me winning like 2 or 3 Olympia titles as a 212.
Yeah, I mean, the 212 division, it's not in like a great spot right now. No, I don't think so. We don't, because the best guys are migrating to open shows, which we didn't see that before. All those years Flex Lewis was winning, he intentionally stayed. I think he did do a couple open shows earlier on in his career.
I was there.
But he stayed 212 to establish the legacy and to strengthen the division.
Yeah,
with the guys like Jose Raymond, Eduardo Correa, the guys that really established that division. And I don't know if the guys now see any loyalty or obligation to the division the way that their predecessors did. Whereas maybe a lot of guys now see it as a stepping stone to Open. So yeah, it's this year is going to be interesting. We'll see.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you were Kamal El Gagni and the Masters Olympia is coming up in Cluj in Romania in August, would you do 212 or Open?
212.
Really?
Yeah.
So who would be his competition in the Open?
Well, seeing you got to be 45. You have to be at least 45.
He's over that.
Who is this competition?
Seriously, who is there that could beat him as an Open based upon how he looked at when he was at Tampa? The Texas was the first one. Tampa. I said he got second to Hakeem.
I don't think anyone's coming out of retirement to do the. Maybe I'm wrong. We have no idea. We're going to find out in April. I think that they're all applying for it now, so we don't know. But you got some guys like Open guys who are over 45, like Phil Clayhar is very good. Mm-hmm. But who else is 45? Is Bonac? Bonac's not even 45 yet, is he?
Bonac is Bonac and Brandon were both 40, I think, last year. So they're like 41, knocking on 42. Phil Heath ain't coming back because he's 43 now.
Yep.
Although he's hinting to Jay on his podcast that he wants to come back next year, but I think he's pulling a Kai there. I'll be honest.
Yeah, and Kai's another one, but I don't see Kai doing it.
Victor Martinez, he's still in shape. He's still huge. He's got 49.
Victor should do the Masters Olympia.
You'll get justice from that 2007 robbery.
True. Who would you in there? You know what, Victor still looks very good. Kamal obviously hasn't skipped a beat. He's still in his prime, really, at 52. It's incredible. Head to head, Victor versus Kamal. Who do you think would win?
Oh God. Well, Victor still looks amazing to me. The last time we saw it at the Arnold, was it in 2020? I thought he looked great there. I thought his placing was really harsh.
Yeah, it was.
I thought he was going to be top 5. I thought he looked amazing. But the thing is, with Victor, he fades really fast. He looks really good when he first comes out. And if he's not called out first, he just stands the lineup. He just deflates. He's one of those. Yeah. So he has to be in that first call out. So if he was at the Masters Olympia, he'd obviously be first call out. I couldn't see anyone,
sure.
Unless his physique has dramatically fallen apart in the last couple of years, which I very much doubt. But I don't know, because Kamal, if I was Kamal, though, I would do the Open Masters Olympia. I'd go for it.
I mean, who's he? I mean, the 212, I think, would be, I don't want to say too easy, but who's beating him? Anybody that's over 45, he's already beaten in the past. Or I think it's safe to say he would beat them now.
Dave Henry.
I mean, I think Kamal, no offense, Dave, I think Kamal would beat Dave Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been beating him consistently these past few years, so I don't think that's an outlandish statement.
Different.
Yeah. All right, Kamal, do the Open. Do the Open. Yeah.
Do it. Go on. I actually messaged him, but I don't think he uses the number anymore because it hasn't even been a tick, you know? So I think, because I know he's got a couple of phones.
Imagine that. Kamal El-Gardni, for the 2023 Masters Mr. Olympia champion.
And then he calls it a day.
Has a nice ring. Oh, and retires with an Olympia title.
Because he told me when I went to his house at the end of 2019, because he said originally, he said, I'm going to do another year and I'm done. And then he won the 212 Olympia.
Yeah.
And then it went to his house and he said, Giles, I've decided I'm going for another 5 years. I've spoke to my wife. We've agreed it. We're going for 5 more years.
5 years.
So that would take him from 2019. That'd take him up to 2024. So we're in 2023 now. So
he's going to be 54, 55 years old and still competing. Come on, Kamal.
He's looking better than ever. I mean, he looked incredible at the Tampa. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
You know, and he could have been second to Clarida. No one would have argued. I mean, it was close between him and Calderon. So, what do you think?
I think you're right, Kamal. Giles has got some great advice for you. I think that's a great idea, but I think it would be great if he just dropped the mic and retired after that show. You know, he can do whatever he wants, but
well, hang on. Will Harris could do the Open because he's 700 years old, isn't he?
There's a blast from the past.
Yeah,
Will Harris,
he was at the Olympia. I said hi to him. I think
really?
I was in the men's the toilets. I said hi.
Did he have the fangs in?
I didn't look that closely. I was walking out.
He actually has, fangs he can screw into his, like he made, very expensive, very convincing vampire fangs.
Yeah.
Perfectly real. Yeah. Will Harris. Wow. Good job, Giles. That's a reference I don't think I would have made today. But yeah, that's everybody I had on the list for 2023. Did you have anybody else you want to talk about?
I think Charles Griffin was one of the ones outside of that top 10 that really stood out for me because he brought improvements, he brought condition, and those are the guys you've got to keep an eye out on because if they're going from show to show and they're improving every single element of their physique, those are the guys like Patrick Johnson. Yes, he was 14th. He wasn't like a top 6 guy, but he was improved in terms of his size. And I hope also that people don't start writing off Brandon Curry and Bonac because they've been doing that for years and it really pisses me off to be honest. It does. It really annoys me because it's like, Brandon Curry's not a factor for the Arnold Classic. It's like, he's the current champion. He's won the Olympia. I mean, he missed his mark at the Olympia because I saw that video that, what's his name? Abdullah showed me at the airport when we were on the same flight going out to Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. And I was like, if he pulls the water and he tightens, because everything, the size wise, I mean, he looked enormous, but he kind of didn't bring that dryness to the stage, but, that's just a matter of just dropping a few pounds and just keeping on going, so you can't write Bonac off. Do you know what I mean? Because that wasn't Bonac at his best. That wasn't if the Boston Bonac had been at the Olympia, he wouldn't have been 9th place. Let's be frank.
No. I mean, but you know what? Fans, right? It's all it takes is one slide down placings in one show, and people will turn on these guys in a heartbeat like that. So we're not. What's your best ever comeback that you've seen where someone has started to slip and then come back? Somebody I thought was done. God, there's been so many. Bonac's one of them. Bonac's one of them. I thought Bonac after the 2021 Olympia was done. Yeah. I was like, okay, he had a great run. It's time to go and walk right off into the sunset, William. You had a good run. But the problem is when they work with new coaches, sometimes the coaches will try something more extreme or different and it doesn't work for them. So like what worked with Chad for the Arnold and the Boston obviously clearly didn't work for the Olympia because maybe pushed him too hard, too much over those 6 months, 9 months or whatever it was. Maybe pushed him too hard, and by the time he just got to that last bit, maybe he got sick. I don't know. Because these guys will never tell you until months later. You know what I would like to see, just because it would be the most awesome comeback is, and I don't know if it's possible, is Rami with the issues. I don't know I know that's a very long shot. But if that guy could come back this November looking amazing again with everything back intact, I know I'm being crazy here, but that would be a comeback. Imagine that.
Because his condition was pretty good at the Olympia.
It was.
Pretty good. No, it wasn't bad.
No,
and like Dennis James was looking at him every day, and Dennis James said even now, he said, I wasn't concerned. He said, I wasn't concerned. But like I said, the lower lats, the triceps, the calves, you can't bring those muscle areas back unless the judges are going to completely overlook it. No. And I think his physique has changed. I think his body, like Ronnie's, like Jay's, they start to show wear and tear.
Yeah.
And it's just how it is, unfortunately. There's a peak and a trough, with right. And a kind of over the other side, Yeah. So I don't know whether he can come back from that.
I don't either. I just think if it was somehow possible, people call me a Rami hater because I've never been a huge fan of his physique. I thought he looked, I was very impressed, and I was there at his pro debut in 2013 New York Pro. Very impressed with him. And, he's got some attributes that I give the guy all the credit in the world. Enormous, crazy structure, pretty good shape. But, I totally respect his work ethic and his determination. And, I don't know if it's possible either, because we saw Ronnie, who was more determined and hardworking than Ronnie, and his body just gave out on him. And
I mean, remember when he lost the Olympia and Ronnie came back in 2007? And remember Chad Nichols said that they were trying higher reps, and they said, okay, we're going to take the poundages down, you're going to come back with high reps, get more blood to the muscle, and he kind of came back even worse. And it's like, because the body, the mind is willing, but sometimes the body, once it's given up, that's it. I spoke to Ronnie, I know Ronnie, and he said, because he said, I said, so Ronnie, like, just say you hadn't have, your body hadn't done that and you hadn't lost it, but how long would you? He said, I just would have kept going. He said, I loved it. I loved what I did. He says, my mind was willing. He says, but father time caught up to me, and my body just, because you think you're hammering that body. Because I spoke to Rami the other week, and he said, like, I'm like you, Ronnie. So I like to lift heavy weight. He says, and go ahead. That's what he loves to do. He goes to go to the gym and just absolutely smash it, And but unfortunately, like Phil Heath, when he came back in 2020, he looked great, but he didn't look like the Phil Heath. It's like, it's like people still saying that, like Kai Green and come back. It's just like, no, the body, he's done. They're done. Dennis Wolf tried it. Some guys tried it, and I respect them for trying, because at least they follow through on their actions. But I just think, Rami just needs to call it a day now. I think he really does, and focus on his supplement company, and and go start 20 business, go build a couple of hotels or something, go into partnership. He's a celebrity. He's a god. He's a god in Egypt. I mean, the guy's set for life. He can, and he's good. He's got 2 Olympia titles. That's incredible.
Dude, Big Rami's gym in Egypt. Come on, who wouldn't want to go there? I'd go if I was in Egypt. Yeah. I agree with you.
Lovely. I love him. He could just be a TV personality because they love him over there. I mean, he's like, literally, he is at like godlike status. Yeah. He's like me in Wales.
Is that true?
Get out.
Okay, well, yeah, we forget that you're Welsh, guys. So don't forget, Giles is actually Welsh, just like Tom Jones and Robert Plant, 2 other famous Welshmen.
Robert Plant used to live in Monmouth, where I'm from. I used to see him. He used to come in the pub.
Okay. Are you a big Led Zeppelin fan? No, how dare you? They were awesome.
Because Queen, the Queen, even in the Bohemian Rhapsody film, that studio, Rockfield Studios, where they recorded Bohemian Rhapsody. That's a very famous studios because it's kind of out of the way, and they used to send all the record companies used to send all the Hellraisers there because there's nothing to do in my town. There's no nightclubs. They can't get up to any mischief. There's no drugs. There's no nothing. Yeah. So, like, Ozzy Osbourne used to come in, Lemmy from Motorhead, we used to get the Shane MacGowan from the Pogues. We had it was just like a regular occurrence, all these, like, sort of pop stars and, and rock stars and stuff. Like, Lemmy from Motorhead used to come in and play on the gambling machines. He put about £100 a night, and that was back in the 80s. So that was a lot of money, So
that was because you lived upstairs from a pub downstairs, right?
Yeah. My dad ran a pub, yeah.
Yeah, did you say Ozzy Osbourne bought you a toy truck or something when you were a kid?
Yeah. He bought me a yellow Tonka truck.
Nice.
And that was the one because my bedroom was sloped, and the pub that I grew up in was 600 years old.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be haunted by one of the landlords from the 18th or 19th century.
Sure it is.
And I never personally saw the ghost. A lot of people did. My mum did. A lot of staff did. And one night, because the floor was slopey because it's a really old building, and the Tonka truck moved up the slope.
Up the slope. Oh
up
boy.
the slope. It moved up the slope not that far, and I was just like, okay. So that was Ozzy Osbourne's truck that he bought me.
Paranormal activity. Okay, well, we have been speaking for a little over an hour, and this is the MD Power Hour. So let's wrap it up.
Let's go another hour.
Let's go another. Well, next time. Yeah, we're gonna have different topics next week. I'm gonna let you come up with next week's topic. I've been hogging all the topic ideas, but man, this is fun. I like sitting down, shooting the shit with you, as we say in the US, about all things bodybuilding. So, guys, we appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you like these videos, hit that thumbs up thing. There's a bell up in the corner. You want to hit that bell so you know when the notifications come on. We have new video content coming up. And of course, comments, feedback, leave it all down there. We love to get back to you. We'll answer you, even if you're not so nice. If you're nice, either way, we'll get back to you. We appreciate all our viewers. So thank you so much, Giles. And you have a global muscle coming up. Well, it's going to be all people have already seen it, but actually, I don't know which. This will be on Monday. So your global is Wednesday. I don't know if you want to tease the episode or not.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, fair enough.
I'm figuring it out now. All the guests. Because I'm going to go back to filming on a Sunday.
Okay.
Because that for me, and also earlier in the day, because I found that I'm more engaged. I'm sharper. You know. So I just did. You know, when you move the guests around and stuff like that. And I've watched the episodes back, and I watched the live, and I was like, these episodes are better when I film them earlier, and also on a day when somebody can't come knocking on the door and there's no, you know. And I've so that's what I'm going to do anyway. So can't wait to get back, because like I said, it's been over Christmas I embraced the first few days, and I kind of just get used to it. But the last couple of days I go a bit crazy, and I start feeling guilty and anxious, and I just want to get back to my normal life and training and working and stuff like that. So there you go.
Well, guys, that's going to be Wednesday at 9:15 a.m. this week. MD Global Muscle returns with Giles Tiger Thomas and guests to be determined. You'll see who he has this time. I'm sure he's got some good stuff for you. So that's it. Thanks for watching the MD Power Hour with Giles Tiger Thomas, Sir Giles Tiger Thomas, and Ron Harris. We'll see you next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.